All right, what up, guys? So this video is going to be a whole lot of complaining, and what I still think personally, still sucks about Diablo 4. I don't know why I play this game. I do because it's fun sometimes, but other times it's really, really bad. And there's certain parts of it that I don't know, like it's so good, so close to being such a good game, but it just has so many problems still. But we're gonna get into those problems. I've got like a fairly sizable list here in front of me. We're just gonna go through it. Some of it has to do with the Spiritborn. Some of it has to do with just this season. Some of it has to do with the game as a whole. Without further ado, let's just like get into it and absolutely shit all over Blizzard. Now, dunking on Blizzard's fun and all, but I actually will start out with one thing that I don't personally think is a problem that other people might think is a problem, is how long it takes to level up. I think the time from level 1 to 250 is perfectly fine, and then after 250, it's just like you're adding like a little bit of additive damage here and there. Doesn't really matter. So I actually personally think leveling's fine. It gives you something to do. I'm like 285 right now, and I have everything, and I've had everything for I don't know how many levels now. Those extra bits haven't added any damage or anything to my character, which I guess it's hard to tell because I'm playing the Spiritborn right now. Currently trying to put together a rogue for everybody who liked my rogue builds last season. It's just taking a little bit of time to gather stuff because people aren't really selling rogue items and stuff like that right now, which part of that is that the Spiritborn is bugged. The other part of it is it's just new. Everybody's playing Spiritborn, so obviously that's where all the gold stuff comes from. So pretty much I have to play my Spiritborn to get stuff that's worth gold to sell on Diablo trade to buy stuff from my rogue, which is hard to find. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to absolutely dunk on Blizzard.
Hey, fuck yeah!
Let's start off with something like super simple, super basic, and something I really don't understand is these some of these class specific aspects. I think that's absolutely stupid. I think if an aspect can apply to a certain build, you should just be able to use it. Let's give an example here. Apprehension, the one that was added this season that is only usable on Spiritborns, that gives you extra damage for feared enemies. Why can't I just like have other classes get extra damage for fearing things, right? Example, if you could use apprehension on the druid, maybe there would be a build that's viable with the butcher's cleaver that makes it where when you hit enemies they get feared, right? Like it opens up a possibility, and I don't understand why. Like obviously if there's something that applies specifically to rapid fire, then even if you wear it on a character, if you don't have rapid fire, it's not going to do anything. But some of the other stuff like apprehension doesn't make any sense to me. Staying on aspects for now, as we all know, getting some of the higher tiered aspects is kind of difficult right now. I don't understand why. I mean, I do. The extra, like the interdiction is the hardest one to get right now for some reason. The after 16 is supposed to just be like a bonus, but of course people see that and they want it. I'm one of those people. I could get 15 being as elusive as it is right now. 15 is the highest you can get on interdiction. I haven't even gotten one, and it's because I haven't bought one, right? I have probably 200 hours into this season. I have not found a single interdiction. Well, that's a lie. I found one today. My first one was today. That's right. I got an amulet that had 17%, which is, I think, 12? It's 11 or 12. Either way, 200 hours to get that. I think 11, 12, 13, and probably 14 should be difficult to find, but at 200 hours, it should have gotten at least one of each, right? And then maybe 15 ends up being this like unicorn, right? So like there's still some value to be had there. If you get one and you don't need it, you can be like, oh, look at this. I can sell it to somebody for some gold, and odds are that person hasn't found one. That would be cool, but having 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 being as elusive as they are, and having it where when you salvage 15, and if you're at 10, you only go to like 11, right? Like they don't have it where you just jump to the highest one you found. It just jumps up a level. It makes it really dumb, especially if you're somebody who wants to do solo self-found. Like, I don't do solo self-found on my softcore character, but every season I actually have a hardcore character lately. And I'm going to probably put some more time into my hardcore characters, but that I like to just like solo self-found on there, right? If I die, okay, cool, I don't care. And it just gives me something else to do in the game, right? And obviously it can't be entirely solo self-found because if I go out to a hell tide, there's going to be people there. But for as much as I possibly can, I just do my own thing, right? So not being able to find those aspects makes it difficult. Like I said, I'm not saying it should be easy. I don't think it should be easy and quick to find. I think that like you need to be able, there needs to be a reason to keep playing the game at a certain point, right? But for me to have as many hours as I have, and I'm not just unlucky. I've read a couple of other people saying the same thing. You just cannot find interdiction at all past 10%. Two things about the Paragon system. For starters, add a fucking preset board system already. We've been asking for this since the game came out. I can't be bothered to reset my Paragon, add a couple of nodes to it to try to make a new fun build to test out, and then the build doesn't work out, and guess what? I have to immediately reset and rebuild the Paragon from scratch over and over again. It's really annoying, especially somebody who's like has like headaches like I do if I focus too much on a screen. It's part of the reason that Diablo is so fun. I don't have to like hone in so hard and like focus so hard. I can just kind of go on autopilot, right? But like having to spend 10 minutes rearranging my board to test the build, it's annoying. You know what it should have? Name preset Withering Fist. Name preset Crushing Hand. And then I just pay gold, whatever. For some reason, they slap you pay gold to switch back and forth between the presets. Like, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. All right, let me mark out this add a preset Paragon system. That's the thing I think that it's annoyed me the most. And it's not that they didn't add it in the beginning, and it's like, oh man, it seems like an oversight though. That seems like something they should have just like inherently just like fixed, because I don't want to make another Spiritborn character because then I have to level up their glyphs again. Okay. Anyway, so this season they introduced where you can only have 5 Paragon boards. I think that's absolutely horrible. There's a bunch of points that go places that it doesn't need to go, like all the extra flat damage and crap that you don't really need. I would like to just have another board, and if they're not going to do that, get rid of the starter board. So either they need to allow us to have one more Paragon board, or they need to make it where we get to pick which board is our starter board. So there's essentially no starter board. When you open up the Paragon, it's like, what board would you like to begin on? Choose a select, and then like you can at least have another legendary glyph and get to pick what you want instead of this small little board that doesn't have anything on it and doesn't even have a legendary node. Would they do that? Probably not, because like I don't want to shit on them too hard, because I know that their job is their job, and most of them are just kind of listening to somebody. So it's like, who's even to blame here? But like, come on, bro, just use your brain and figure out what people are gonna think are fun, or think is fun. And to me, I think the starter board is stupid. Breakpoints. That's my next subject here. They need to clearly define breakpoints for people in the game. Most people, including myself, I've even looked into this, and I can't even be bothered to try to mentally figure out attack speed breakpoints and the way that frames and stuff work and all that nonsense, okay? You need to clearly define all the breakpoints in games, and like pertaining to attack speed in particular, we have type 1 attack speed, type 2 attack speed that both dip into different attack speed pools depending on where it's coming from. And like if, for instance, on Spiritborn, Moonrise, the aspect comes from type 1 attack speed, which caps at 100%, and then Ferocity is type 2 attack speed, which has its own cap. So you could technically reach cap 1 and then add a bunch of stuff to it that's not going to add attack speed, but then if you put stuff from cap 2 in there, and it'll actually get faster, and it's just like, oh my god, just make it 200% attack speed cap and combine everything. I don't know why it is the way that it is. And then all the other breakpoints in the game also just need to be like clearly defined in the game, or at least be simplified to just inherently make sense, right? If your thing says you have 125% attack speed, you get 125% attack speed. Simple. This one is actually not the biggest of deals, but the Dark Citadel, which was really fun. It sounded fun at first, but then you realize it's not actually like a World of Warcraft raid, and it's actually really, really boring to do the same thing every single week for virtually no reward, because the reward you get from it's crap, and then there's like 3 cosmetics that you really don't give a flying crap about if you get enough Citadel coins. But if they want to make it more interesting, they needed to like randomize the instances of stuff, so like the Dark Citadel isn't the same week by week, right? I mean, even if you need to do 3 different tiers, have a pool of like 9 different maps that it could be when you enter those certain tiers, or just something, because right now it's boring, and it's not even like it's one long coherent raid anyway. You're just doing 3 different things that each have their own boss, and none of them are more difficult than the others, to be honest. The only thing is the last one is just more annoying than the other 2, but not more difficult, just more annoying. The Pit, of course, the main thing this season, because for some reason they thought that Nightmare Dungeons weren't very good, so they went with the Pit. I preferred doing Nightmare Dungeons personally, but that's my personal opinion, which is actually not even the popular opinion, though. The Pit needs to stop being 2 different levels. Why is it 2 different levels when on each level you are just like mindlessly killing stuff until you get to the boss anyway? I don't understand why it has 2 different levels, and I don't understand why there's an end to the second level. It's actually really, really annoying when you get to a dead end and you have to turn around in the pit. It makes it take more time. It's not very fun, very boring. It just needs to be never ending. The pit, like the rooms just keep going and going and going, and obviously there will be an end because you have to, because like code isn't infinite, but it's just incomprehensibly large to the point where there's no way you're going to reach the end before you kill everything you need to kill, right? And if you do, it's because you purposely didn't kill anything. I usually cut before I go to the next one, but anyway, Blue Ruins is my next one. The rune system, I don't think is all that bad. Like, people complain about the mythic crafting system. I think the mythic crafting system is perfect this season. I don't think the ruins are bad, and I don't think that having to have 2 sparks is bad. But the blue ruins need to drop more. This is more of like a pet little peeve. It's not the worst thing in the world, but the blue ruins need to drop in Torment if they're going to have us use them to craft mythic uniques, because right now the blue ruins drop more in the normal difficulty modes instead of Torment ones, but most people are playing in the Torment ones, so it just makes it, not a huge deal, but I would definitely make it where the blue ruins have a more common drop rate in Torment. By the way, all of this stuff, I probably should have put this in the beginning of the video, but this is all assuming that they fixed the bugs with the Spiritborn, because I don't know how strong the Spiritborn is going to be once they patch Viscous Shield and the Interdiction bug. We'll see, but, one thing they need to stop doing, they need to stop giving us events that involve, like, sitting in a corner and, like, twiddling our thumbs, What is it? The Seething Realm thing this season. Stupid. I want to do it because I want to get the opals in order to level up faster in the pit. But the big guy that just walks around, it is absolutely horrendously slow, just like following him around and just waiting for him to get to the end. And there's not even, other than the Seething Opal, there's not a reward for doing this either. So you're just really disincentivized from doing it because it's not very fun. And this thing is supposed to be like the season theme, right? But I understand that this season in particular, the theme was like, oh my god, look at Nahantu, or however you pronounce it, and the Spiritborn, and like, blah, blah. But the last 3 or 4 seasons, 3 or 4, I think since season 3. Season 3 was the Construct one. So definitely season 4, 5, 6, probably 3 if I'm not like misremembering. You need to have real themes with real theme mechanics. So in season 1 and season 2, we had Malignant Hearts and Vampiric Powers, and it was really cool. The hearts were a little annoying because sometimes you would get a ring and it would be the wrong color, but it had everything else you wanted on it, but it was still cool. And the Vampiric Powers were freaking phenomenal, right? And then we got items out of it later on, but we haven't had a theme that changes the game all that much. They've all been focused on, we can change how our gear works and tempering and all that, and those are good additions to the game, but they're not really like season worthy. They're not like a nice theme to go on, right? And also, it doesn't give you the ability to make uniques to change up the game any. Like, we have the rings that have the vampiric powers, right? That stuff doesn't exist anymore in the mid-season because they don't do any themes. And while we're on the subject of tempering, this is also a small little thing. I like that they've allowed us to at least get one more chance at tempering this season. You need to stop allowing tempering to land on the current temper. If people are re-tempering an item, it's because they want something different. So whenever I'm like, I get overpower damage on something, I'm like, man, I want critical strike damage, and then I roll my overpower damage to get overpower again, that's what they need to fix. It needs to go to something else. Small thing, but annoying nonetheless. And then on the subject of loot, They need to have more frequent single GA item drops. I don't think they need to change 2 and 3 because there needs to be like chase items in the game. There needs to be like a reason to play and to get something cool that you know that somebody that either you need or that you know you can sell for a whole lot of gold to somebody who does need it, right? I think that's a really good aspect of the game. But the single GA items, I think, need to be more frequent. Like when you gamble with your little gambly coins or whatever, you don't really get a whole lot of GA items that have the chance for your interdiction on it or whatever. But I think leaving 2 and 3 the same. If they didn't change that, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but that is a common complaint amongst people, and I think it's slightly annoying. And the last thing I have written down over here, there's probably more if I really wanted to think about it, and you guys can leave me like some comments about what you hate about Diablo 4 right now. And this one's a small one too, but it's such a good quality of life. Allow us to craft from stash, or to summon bosses from stash. So if I go to craft a uber unique, and I have my ruins in my stash, it should allow me to craft the ruin or craft the mythic unique from the ruins in my stash. If I go to a boss altar and I have the items in my stash, I should be able to summon them from my stash. There's other games that have crafting systems far more complicated than Diablo that let you craft from stash. So, but that's really it. If you guys agree or you don't agree with me, let me know in the comments below. Although if you don't agree with me, it's not that I don't care what you think, but if you're rude about it, you can, go suck one. But anyway, make sure you like, comment, subscribe though if you enjoyed the video, and let me know what you think, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.